Yeah, I know. Said we was gonna do some clay, but shit came up. So instead of clay, and we'll get to it. We'll definitely get to it. I'm feeling the itch, but I wanted to catch up on some illustration. So that's what we're doing tonight. Create some cells. It's really interesting the wording that they use for certain things. We're just gonna add some. I'm just gonna fine tune this. I think we can cap this one off and keep it moving. All right. With that being said, what's up, everybody? This is Krita. You can download it for free off the internet. They have a couple of different versions. It's like Photoshop, as you can see if you ever use Photoshop. Um, and then you got to get a support device for it, like a Huron, a drawing tablet, and you can get those at a pretty good price, like $100 or something. Like this one, I got this. I've had this for years, like years, and it's still pretty good. Um, Huron, whatever. It's this right here. It's one of these drawing tablets. You see, I gotta wipe it off. I had a lot of dust from the instance just flew all over the place in here the other day, so I didn't quite get everything. I didn't even notice it until I started drawing. So we're gonna take care of that. Adobe, Photoshop, they were good starts, but I like this because it's simple. It's really simple. If you used any of those other ones, this is easy. This is no brainer. It's just learning the shift keys and all the little alternate functions. But it also does animation. It gives you another program where you can go over your cells. Pretty simple too. So it's got a lot of really simple tools to use. Yes, this is part of my comic book, Fancy. Because I found some copies. Oh, I'm sitting here. It's right here. It's right here. This is part of the backstory I decided to do. And it's taking me a little bit of time. Goddamn. But this is the comic, Fancy. This is the first issue right here. In the first issue, you don't know anything. And I use a lot of different art from my books. This is the cover, but this is a poster I did back in the day. I just put on the back cover because I loved it. You know what I'm saying? For the first issue, I was like, hell yeah. Really good brother bought the original off of me and we were in Atlantic City. His name is Krev. He does this hip hop heritage. He's on YouTube under hip hop heritage, but he has the original of this. And it's about a girl going on her journey. She's a fairy. And she's oops, did I knock my thing out? I think I knocked my thing out. Let me see. There we go. But anyway, just catching up with a lot of the art and the storyline. Mostly just the art. So on this page right here, going back over her character story of why she's there in the first place. I can do something like that. It might even be good because then I can give a little backstory in it. That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? But this is where she first enters the human realm. She's waking up from her leap of faith. And she landed in this little vehicle right here. And this is her companion, this dog right here. He's all throughout the series. And he has the ability to appear and disappear at will. He's like a little trickster. And I'm going to clean him up too because he looks better than this. So this is like, this is like this has been out for a couple of years now. I had book 2 and book 3 out. I don't have any copies left of those. And book 4 was ready to start when the damn, when everything shut down in 2020. So I wrote with those 3 and then I started coming up with the backstories. I have like 3 backstories that I want to put out before I put out the 4th. This here is the opening page. As soon as you open the book, we'll go through it. Let me get this set up real quick so we can all enjoy this together. But this is the first page. The first page is a dedication page. It's to everybody on my journey up to that point. And what people do when they buy the book, I tell him to sign her name on the wall. This is a actually a scene from the prequel when she first starts out on her journey, and it's also a real place. This is a place when I was out and about in Atlanta that I decided to use as part of the environment, and it opens up in this. I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but it's definitely 2,000 years in the future. So everything's. I wanted to do a mix of, Western, steampunk, any of the old genres. I kind of stuffed into this one little town called Pine Box Ridge. And as the story picks up, she's talking to herself. She's in disguise. She's a fairy. She really shouldn't be here. As you can see, called Pine Box Ridge. And you get little clues as to why she's here. And this is part of the backstory right here. To make matters worse, I found Sophia, the guardian of the gates between the worlds, dead in Neptune's reeds. I decided to follow the trail which led me here. She says she's talking about an emotional ride. So you just get the feeling that she's under a lot of, there's a lot right here, and all that's going to be explained. But I decided to just throw you guys into the fray of her first adventure. And this is where you first see the dog peek out. But she's been following these two right here. But also she's been following a voice. The voice in the crystal led me to a scroll hidden in an old beat up shack. Now that old beat up shack is this part where she finds it. So this is giving little nuggets and clues. Like you'll see it in the ones before. I'm not going to give too much out, but we can go through this because it's already done. You know what I'm saying? She made a new friend. I don't know where he came from or who he belongs to, but despite chewing up my belongings, he's helped me out a lot since we met. I'm thinking of. I love the physical copies because I get to talk to people and sign the books and all that. But I think a digital format for people I can't reach is on the horizon. But these are the two that she's been following. Jake and Cal Barley, two of the most two-bit, low-down, side-wide, and no-good killers in these parts, from what I gather. My intuition tells me that they played a part in Sophia's death, but for the life of me, I can't figure out how these two retards managed to kill a guardian. So she's kind of planned this out as best as she can. So she tells the dog to beat it. He dips off, and he comes back in. I think, what book is it? Either 3 or 4. He comes back into the fray, and you figure out why he's doing what he's doing here. So I've let a lot of holes, so to speak. And this is the only colored page in there, and I left it in there. I don't know why. This is when I started using. No, that's not when I started using that. I just did it because it was already finished. But when I introduce characters, I like to introduce them a little different. So these guys got a little bit of color on this page, and it shows how low down they really are. And it gives a little bit of dialogue about the place, Pine Box Ridge. And the sign that you see when you come into town, everybody refers to as your quarrel is yours, all is fair game. So there is no law in this town, basically. But you get all these different kind of references from different eras. That being said, still know that's how they managed to make it through Neptune's reeds and kill Sophia. My gut says they had outside help. I just want to know from whom and why. Is Kunda in danger? Kunda is the fairy kingdom where she is from. And with all the events, she's starting to put things together, and she's not the only one after these two. A lawman shows up. Now, these are bounty hunters. they're mostly doing things for personal reasons, and Cal and Barley and Jake have, you know, done their thing to this man's family he's been looking for, and he tells her to kind of back down. You know what I'm saying? And even the backstory where she gets this gun, because most of the time she's carrying her sword. But we see this little girl, and this is why I might do this issue over, because there's a coming a part where I have to. It's really kind of tricky with the story, so I might have to do another extra page. But this is where you really get to see the nature of Jake, who's really the brains, if you will, behind the operation. The town itself is in poverty, so there's little girls out here fetching for money for her family, and he spits in the cup instead of putting anything in there, and they just laugh at her, blah blah blah. And then Fancy decides, and this is who the main character is. Fancy decides enough's enough, and she loads up the shotgun. She was given this little sawed-off thing. It's like a steampunk gun, but it has no bullets. But she's able to bend matter. She's a fairy after all. She has a bit of magic power, but she's not. It's not the same as when she's in Kunda. In Kunda, it's almost like, I don't want to say limitless, but she doesn't get tired. She gets very fatigued when she uses her magic in the human realm. And then we see the first place and another main character. This is Belle, the barkeeper, modeled after a couple of people. All these characters are modeled after people that I know in some form or fashion. But this is the Rusty Ratchet, one of the dives in the town. I must have seen 7 shootouts, 5 murders since I arrived in town. And then she says, make it 6, because you see a guy at the bar with a knife in his back. That's how nonchalant everybody is about how everything goes. And then you see a bunch of shady characters in the back. We'll get to them. I got to take it back a little bit to develop them too in the prequel so you get a better feel. But they coming out the rain and Belle's scared, whatever, whatever. And she serves them drinks. He takes a sip and he spits it out. You know, what kind of piss you serving tonight, Belle? Slams the thing and pulls out his gun and is ready to blow Belle's nose off. And then somebody comes in from behind and says, set her down nice and easy, son. And this is the lawman that Fancy had met outside. The thing about Jake is his left hand is augmented. He's got a cybernetic hand, so he's really quick on the draw, which he would otherwise not be. And you could just tell these two have just been causing carnage in this town for whatever reason. But Jake's just setting them up. Now we flash back because Fancy's about to enter the bar behind Jake and the lawman, and she sees the little girl and she flips a coin into her cup as she passes. It's like a bit of compassion that's there that you see on her side. You'll see flashes of that. And at the same time, the lawman says, don't even. And Jake is like, too late. I thought about it. Then from outside, you just hear the carnage. And then you see Fancy walk in. At the same time, now this is where the crystal that she wears comes in to play and the scroll that she holds, because both of them speak to her. And it's like a flashback. She's not really sure who this character is, but he seems to have walked an identical path. And you get this storyline of a man in the modern world and what he's going through. When he was starting to come into his own, he would have flashes and episodes, especially around people, of what they were thinking and how they felt about him. And how people saw him for real. He would look at all these people and all their judgments would be right there with him. And this is where the connection between the two start to take place. And he goes on about how he's been feeling, but there is a time when everything seemed just like, whatever, whatever. He said, it used to hurt being around people. It came to the point where I was pretty much ready to snap until the day I saw her face. And he says, no, not her, as you would think, but her, the little girl with the fairy wings. He looks at her, she looks at him, and this is how she saw him. And then it goes back to the little girl again. So there's a parallel between these two worlds going on. And then we walk in, and Fancy saying, damn, that was quick. This is the lawman who came through. And now for these two bits, good for nothingers, whatever. And Fancy, being a smartass that she is, she asked the question, how do you know what coyote piss tastes like? Because that was Jake's entry. He said, how about you find out what a bullet tastes like? And then, Cal is like he's the hype man, but he's got all the heavy equipment on his arms and shit. So they feel like they're going to get into another fight. They're used to people running up on them, but they're usually dispatching people. And Jake says he ain't here for all that. He didn't even let me finish. And what she does is this gives a glimpse into fairy magic. And this is the first time in the book you see her talking to her alter ego. Now, the alter ego is always written with this kind of box right here. It's got black around it. And this is her dark side that talks to her. And she has these conversations throughout the story. But this is the first time you see it. And she's always talking to herself. Quiet, I'll handle this. So she's talking to herself right here. And what she does is what fairies call shifting. And she manages to dodge the bullet and even catch it. That's how fast she is. But again, this drains her power, and this stray bullet almost kills this guy. So it's got a little bit of comedy in it, because you got these people sitting there. It's like, who's that? What's there? And there's somebody in the back saying, get out the effing, get on the effing floor, you blind fool. He don't even know what's really going on. And then we see Jake's cybernetic hand and what it's really about. Inside are extra bullets and cartridges that load into the gun automatically. And again, she's poking more fun, nice hand job, blah, blah, blah. So he starts shooting again, and you see the bullets enter her cloak, and thinking that they got her, they hear a hymn from the corner, and it's Fancy again. And this time she's holding up cards. And she's reverted to questioning them about who helped them kill Sophia. Now, this is a pause, because these same cards that are right here are these cards right here. This is Fancy's deck. I made a tarot deck named after the character. So this is her right here, Fancy, who's in the story. And this is one reason I want to edit it, because now I can make the images on those cards look like the images on here. No big deal, right? But that's how the story branches out. And now Cal, taking it upon himself with all his hardware, says, your little voodoo don't scare me, and see if you dance to this, Fancy Pants. And this is where she gets her nickname, because people throughout the story, whether they know it or not, keep referring to her with Fancy some type of way in how they interact with her. So this is how she gets that nickname. Because even here, why does everybody call me that? And before she could finish, Cal's blowing out half the bar. This is the little girl that was outside, and this is a couple of bystanders. So this shows the firepower that he's carrying in these arms. And the little girl, she's key in this story. I can't give that away. She's key in this story. And then at the same time, a train pulls in. Now this is a mistake, because this book was printed two different ways. This is a spreadsheet that's supposed to connect. These two pages should be here and here, so you can see the full train and dialogue that goes with it. And this introduces a stranger who comes off the train. Last stop, Pine Box Ridge. Watch your step, and we do mean that in these parts. Can I point you to anything in particular, sir? And you see his cybernetic hand. And now that you ask, I'm looking for the worst of the worst, is what he says. And then the man says, well, let's see now. There's the Steel Toe Saloon, the Peach Pit, and the Rusty Ratchet where all this is taking place. And he says, heck, most of this town is liable to show you its underbelly. But if all else fails, just follow the noise. So this same explosion in the background is this same explosion right here. So he becomes introduced into the scene, and then we see him with his a little something hidden up his sleeve in a briefcase get off the train. And the dialogue, he says, I grew up in a place like this, lawless, cruel, harsh as the winter wind. As a part of me almost misses it all before the shift. Now he's going to leave clues to his origin. So much has changed since that era. I've seen and felt a peace I've never known, but now things are different. This time it's personal. This time it's back to the old ways. I do it for myself. I do it for you. And it's the you part that kind of leaves it that leaves it in the air. And that's the end of book one as far as its cliffhanger. It introduces all the characters relevant to this part of the story and gives you tidbits into the stories preceding and following that'll be following. So it was just a setup, you know. This first book was just really a setup. Didn't mean it to be that way. It's just how it turned out. You kind of got to let the stories that you write live on their own. You know what I mean? But before all that takes place, this is where she first comes into Pine Box Ridge. And there's a whole lot of real life stuff that I decided to go back and address to make the story a bit more relatable. Because this place, Pine Box Ridge, has an issue with missing children. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of grimy shit that goes on in this town. And she is the catalyst for change. And because she's crossed over in the human realm, this is why these scenes are now in black and white, just like the book is. That's why the book is in black and white for this part of the journey. It's got that old kind of, you know, really raw feel that was needed for that. You know, it's kind of gritty, it's a little dirty, whereas compared to other places in the realms, you'll see it's vibrant with a lot of color. This is right before she takes the jump. You know what I'm saying? And this scene is kind of like the last scene before you get to the actual, maybe 2-3 issues away from the one I just showed you. But the significance of that picture is, give me a sec, I know it's in here somewhere. This is a big deck. I got 78 cards. These are all my best pictures and shit from the deck. Combinational pieces, whatever you want to call them. That's the cover to the deck right there. And these are the characters in the story as well in the deck. And I'm looking for one in particular. Damn. I must have left it in the thing, huh? Because I would have found it by now. It must be in that part right here. And some of these images are really, I don't want to say old, but some of these are old. Like this one, if you can see the date down there, this was done in 2014. This was 2014. And it was only recently, about 3 years ago, that I finally just put it all together. So this has been at least 20 years in the making with everything. Because it had a lot of little stuff that went along with it. The deck being one of them. Let me check that real quick because I didn't pull that out. And it would be the one card that I left in. This became the full card. So this is the same image right here. And that's how it connects everything. It gives you all the info you need in a lot of different ways. And a lot of the paintings that I'm working on have to do with the backstory. This is Fancy's mother. You know, this is their, when they met, mother and father, like, you know, all this stuff goes together in some kind of way. But this is the world of Fancy. Oops. Go on. Well, if I can cut it on, I can cut it off. What is going on with this button? Oh, man. All right, I know that. Oh, well, I'm about to do the same because this thing is acting up. But I appreciate you. Yeah, come back because that's what I'm going to be working on uh, a lot this week, even with the class. So appreciate you for coming in. I'm glad you enjoyed what you saw. We'll definitely pull some more out and show you some of the collections and everything. We're just going to reinvent the whole thing and you know what I mean? Just have fun with it. Just have fun with it. But until the next time, I'll talk to y'all. Have a great night.